Discussing her third novel in 3 decades, I mentioned that the American writer Stephen King, in a glowing review, had urged her to write books more quickly because time is relatively short. Had Donna Tartt been affected by King's comment?
Well, all our time is relatively limited. That's true for all of us. I am happy working the way that I'm working. You know, if there's no fun for the writer, there's no fun for the reader. You know, something my old Greek teacher said, and it was actually something I've always remembered. If you're not enjoying something, it's because you're doing it too fast.
It struck me in that quote, though, there are many different literary sensibilities, and Stephen King's is very much that he was feeding the reader. He had this ravenous fan base, and he provides sometimes more than one book a year. With your readership, you make them wait for their, not their morsels, because they're large, but their meals.
Well, people feed their readerships in different ways. The books I write take a very long time to write. I write big books, but I'm a miniaturist at heart. I'm very engaged with my work on a sentence-to-sentence level. I'm painting a wall-sized mural with a brush the size of an eyelash.
Donna Tartt is an American novelist and essayist. Her novels The Secret History, The Little Friend, and The Goldfinch have earned her both literary and public acclaim. She has won, among others, a W. H. Smith Literary Award, a Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, and the Andrew Carnegie Medal for Excellence in Fiction. And in 2014, Time magazine named her one of its 100 most influential people. I recently read Donna Tartt's The Secret History, and ever since then, I've thought about what her writing process is like, and because it takes her roughly a decade to write each book that she has published so far, I was interested to see what her writing process is like and what her writing routine is like, more like it rather. So I did a little bit of research on the internet. There's not much to find about her writing routine, as it turns out. She is sort of a mysterious writer in that sense, that she doesn't really do many interviews, or at least in-person interviews, I think. She does more maybe over the phone or by email correspondence, and probably only does interviews with people she already knows. In an article on revistastudio.com, somebody who's actually an acquaintance of Donna Tartt did an interview with her on her writing process. And so I'm going to read you an excerpt from that thing. But the question is, do you write by hand or do you use a computer? Both. With my novels, I start out by hand, scratching things out and underlining things in different colors, and then when my handwritten pages get too messy, often because I've cut the paper up with scissors to move sentences and paragraphs around, I go to the computer and type things in, printing out different colors of paper for different drafts. Then, can you describe your writing routine? I write for 3 hours in the morning. If it isn't going well, I'll stop and do something else. But if it's going well, I'll work till I'm tired. And this was about the most detailed description of her writing routine I could find. So I'm going to go by what I've been able to find, and I'm going to do her writing routine. Good morning, everybody. Today is the day that I do Donna Tartt's writing routine. So I'm sitting here at a desk in front of a very white wall, which is nice for once to have a plain background. It is 10 to, wow, you really can't see anything on my phone screen. It is 10 to 9, there we go. And I'm going to start writing at 9 for about 3 hours, which will then take me to 12 o'clock. I have got, if I can grab them, my notebooks. The one has my actual idea of the novel or the book, I don't know if it will become a novel, that I want to write in it. So it's my ideas notebook. And then the other one is the one that I'm actually going to be writing in. My cup of tea is busy brewing in the kitchen. And once that's done, I will grab it, sit down here, get all my stationery in order. Even though I think for this these 3 hours I'll probably only need a pen. And then I will get to writing this story. It's 12:30 now, and I have written 5.5 pages in 3.5 hours. But I have been spending a lot of time going through my notes, and wow, the sun is shining now, so you have some interesting lighting. I spent some time going through my notes just to kind of remind myself of how the story is supposed to go. And then I started writing, and I wrote a little bit, and then I already wanted to change some things. So there's some interesting things happening here on my pages already. And I know I'm probably only supposed to write now, but something about writing by hand makes it harder to edit and or write concisely, or what's the word I'm looking for? Eloquently, maybe? Because I can't just delete something really quickly and then fix it. I have to really think about what I want to put down on the page and how, because I can't just highlight a section of words and move it to a different part of the sentence or anything like you can on a laptop. And I know that this is only the first draft, and technically it is supposed to be really rough, and I don't have to make it perfect. But I don't know. I think it's maybe also the fact that I'm writing an actual book, not just on some scraps of paper, that is making it a little bit more daunting to write. But I'm having a lot of fun writing, although I think I do need to go through my notes again more and write out a more fleshed out outline of what I want the book to be, because I wrote down sections that I want to have in the book, which is usually what I do anyway. And then I wrote a rough outline of what happens. But there's nothing really concrete giving me, an outline of how the book is supposed to go and what I want to have where and all those things. And while I'm sitting here writing, I'm having ideas for stuff that's going to happen at the end of the book or in the middle of the book, and I'm only on the first 5.5 page of this book. So I think I need to do some more planning, if you will, before I continue writing. So I'm not going to continue writing any further today, even though I have had a lot of fun writing so far. I'm having a lot of fun with these characters and the story and the setting, which is always great, because when I first started writing this morning, or when I thought of starting to write, I was very daunted by the thought of starting a new story, and I didn't really know where it was going to go. I still don't really know where it's going to go. I still don't know how I want the story to end. I have two options. I'm in two minds about the story, but maybe I'll just write the first draft and see how it goes. And if then in the second draft or in my revisions, I can maybe change some elements of the story to make it go in a different way. I have too many ideas in my brain at the same time. So I feel like I need to just get them all out on a page, and then I can make a little flowchart of how the story is supposed to go, or something like that. But anyway, I'm not going to continue writing any further today. I have a little bit of chores and cleaning up to do around the house, and then I'm going to make lunch for my sister and I. She's going to be back at about 2:00. And then I don't know what we're going to do for the rest of the day, but I do also want to read a little bit today, because Donna Tartt's writing routine is so non-structured. Nothing I found had, like all of the other routines that I found, had certain time points where they do certain things. So, this reading routine? No, this writing routine is very unstructured as opposed to the other ones that I've done so far, which is making it both easier and harder for me to do these things, because now I just have to assume what Donna Tartt would do with the rest of her day. But I did find other parts of the interviews that I read with her, which I haven't included in this video, but they're linked down below, so if you want to go and read them yourself, you can, where she does mention a few things that she likes to do, and also that she wouldn't necessarily start writing if she ever had any appointments throughout the day, that she would only ever write if she has an open day, where she has no commitments, nothing set that she needs to do. So that kind of gives me an idea of that she would probably, if she were writing and it wasn't going well, as she says, and would only write for 3 hours in the morning, that then the rest of her day would probably also be taken up by chores or doing the grocery shopping or doing laundry or reading or something of that nature. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So anyway, let's carry on with the rest of this writing routine. It is a lot darker here now, as you can tell. I went to town with my sister after the clip that you just saw, after we had lunch and dessert. We went to town to go and buy a few things, like these cute little bags, because we're going to make each other DIY advent calendars this year. So we had to go buy some supplies, and then slowly but surely I will buy some things to fill up the calendar with. And yes, that's all I have to say for now. I have not read a single thing. And to be honest, I don't really feel like reading, even though I know I should, because I need to finish this book at some point. But all I really want to do is lie in bed and watch some series or a movie or something. You will see in the next clip what I have decided to do. So it's a couple of days after I did Donna Tartt's writing routine. It was an interesting experience doing this writing routine because it was so unstructured compared to all of the other writing routines that I've done so far. It was interesting in that sense to have so much freedom, and it made it both easier and more difficult. But all in all, I did enjoy this doing this writing routine. It's very interesting to write physically with your hand instead of just typing on a computer. And for the rest of this story that I started writing, I'm going to continue writing it by hand in that book. At least the first draft, obviously. And then once the first draft is done, I'll probably type it up and then print it out from there. Which is the same thing that Donna Tartt does, incidentally. I might even go so far as to print it out on different color papers for different drafts if I go so far as to print every draft out. I don't know if that's maybe just a waste of paper. But anyway, that's all I really have to say about this writing routine. It wasn't a very productive one, but it was informative and a kind of breath of fresh air in comparison with the other ones that I've done so far. So, thank you all for watching. I know this one was quite long compared to the others that I've done, but I hope you've enjoyed it. And as always, comment down below which writers' routines you would like me to do in the future. I have a list that I keep adding to, so definitely do let me know if you have a favorite author whose routine you think I should try. If I'm able to find their routine online, obviously, or by some mode of research, I will attempt it, probably. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you again next week with another video. Goodbye.